British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon. My name is Gina Tang, and here are your news updates to 3 o'clock p.m. Today is the anniversary of the first attack in Gaza. Reporter Tammy Mack tells us how the Jewish community is handling the occasion.
October 7th marks 1 year since the Israel-Hamas conflict began. Shelley Rivkin, executive director of Congregation Shara Zedek in Vancouver, says the rise in anti-Semitism has kept the community on their toes.
Over the last 10 days or so, there's been growing anxiety about whether some event will happen that will be very frightening for people. So for some people, they have a very, very low risk threshold and they don't want to be visibly associated with any community institutions. Other people have a sense of pride and they don't want to be held back. Everybody's going to take their own individual action.
Despite that, she adds that a significant number of people have registered for an upcoming event. Tammy Mack, BCIT's The Crow.
Let's welcome Tammy Mack to answer some of our burning questions. What other events are happening around Vancouver to mark the occasion?
Well, the Jewish Federation of Greater Vancouver has planned a memorial tonight to honor victims of the attack. It is scheduled for 7 p.m., but the location hasn't been announced yet due to safety concerns. This event does require registration, though, and they will be checking ID and banning backpacks and such, again, due to safety concerns. The Canadian Palestine Association has also organized a rally starting at 4 p.m. today at the Art Gallery. Over the weekend, other events have already happened. Like on Sunday, there was a vigil in Abbotsford, and on Saturday, a car rally in Vancouver.
That makes sense, Tammy. How is the Jewish community preparing for this?
Well, Shelley Rivkin of the Congregation Shara Zedek said it's hard to predict how people are going to respond. She expects that parents will exercise a higher level of caution today, especially approaching the anniversary. Some people refrained from being associated with the community, but she also says that some people haven't shied away. She adds that a significant amount of people have registered for an upcoming community event.
Thank you, Tammy Mack, for joining us, and thank you for your thoughtful answers. Police were standing outside Talmud Torah School on Oak Street as parents dropped off their children. Ali Sachs, who has 2 children at the school, broke down in tears as she described how the police presence reminded parents of what happened in the October 7th attack last year.
I think today, being October 7th, feels like a day of grieving, a day of mourning. It's hard to drop your kid off somewhere where you have to see police in front. And it's emotional for all of us. We're all in a state of grief.
Several hundred people gathered in downtown Montreal to honor those who were killed and those who remain as hostages after the attack by Hamas terrorists on Israel last October 7th. Jewish community members laid wreaths, gave speeches, and sang as they heard and mourned together. Julian Silverman was one of those who took part in the event. Silverman says it's been a difficult year after an unprecedented attack in Israel and a rise in anti-Semitism.
There's a lot of emotions, a lot of pain that's resurfacing, general difficulties. It's quite a ball of yarn to untangle, frankly. I think a lot of people are feeling that way. Senses of anxiety and isolation, and also community, that we're here as a community to join together and have a sense of resolve together. But really pain, a year long on this anniversary of this horrific event.
The provincial election comes on October 28. Saskatchewan New Democratic leader Carlo Beck says if elected, her government would hire 100 police officers. Beck has not provided a timeline on when she would meet that target, but says she would work to get it done as soon as possible. She says the province would additionally develop an addictions plan to combat its rising crime rates.
You deserve to feel safe in your own home and in your own community. We have a plan to get tough on crime and tough on the causes of crime.
Western Forest Products, Inc. announced today that it plans to reduce lumber production in British Columbia sawmills by approximately 30 million board feet. The temporary out is due to a combination of market challenges. Now, the company estimates lumber production will be reduced by approximately 90 million board feet. Lower lumber demand and higher U.S. softwood lumber duty rates caused a reduction in production. Lack of available economic log supply at certain sawmills was also a factor of the reduction. For 2024, the total estimated lumber production reduction equates to approximately 10% of the company's annual lumber capacity. Western president and COO Stephen Hofer says, quote, "We continue to face more challenging lumber markets and operating conditions and are taking proactive steps to match production to market demand." With the potential for the combined U.S. softwood lumber duties rate to more than double in the second half of 2025, all levels of government need to be focused on creating a policy environment that supports the forestry industry and encourages domestic investment. McGill has ended its strike after agreeing to drop legal challenges of its law faculty's right to unionize. The strike resulted law professors to walk off the job for more than 5 weeks this fall. The university and the Association of McGill Professors of Law released a joint statement announcing, quote, "a new path forward for negotiating working conditions for professors across McGill." The union has agreed to negotiate agreements jointly with 2 other nascent unions in the faculties of arts and education. In exchange, McGill will end its judicial review of the law's faculty's union certification and will stop challenging the certification of the other 2 unions. Despite significant advancement in medical technologies and genetic research, we have yet to see substantial increase in overall lifespans. Reporter Norman Hall has more on why longevity has been shrinking.
A new study suggests there's a limit to how long most people live, and we've about hit it. That's according to researchers who found shrinking longevity increases in countries with the longest living populations. The findings in the Journal of Nature Aging focused on 8 of the places in the world where people live the longest: Australia, France, Hong Kong, Italy, Japan, South Korea, Spain, and Switzerland. The U.S. didn't even rank in the top 40 because of factors including drug overdoses, shootings, obesity, and inequities in medical access. I'm Norman Hall.
Hurricane Milton strengthens into a Category 5 as Florida prepares for evacuations. The major hurricane threatens to bring dangerous storm surge to Tampa Bay. Milton is setting the stage for potential mass evacuations less than 2 weeks after a catastrophic Hurricane Helene swamped the coastline and killed more than 230 people. Weather conditions have a huge impact on a plant's growth and survival. Our reporter Vivek Nakra has more on how the plants can be reported in winter.
Several plants are being affected by the cold weather conditions. According to the research done by Cornell University, even the hardy plants can be injured during winters when the temperature suddenly drops, if those plants are not managed properly at that time. Michael Stanton, an employee at Triple Tree Nursery Lands, explains what people can do to protect their plants during winters.
So I usually suggest going with something a little hardier, but basically I just suggest either wrapping in burlap or if it's really tender, just bring it inside or into the garage or somewhere where it's a bit more protected or closer to the house.
Stanton also adds that people should keep their eye on the temperature and should start protecting their stuff when it falls to -5 or lower. Vivek Nakra, BCIT is The Crow.
In lighter news, here is your weather. In Burnaby tonight, it will consist of mainly cloudy skies of 15 Celsius. Occasional rain will happen late at night with lows of 13 Celsius. Winds will vary and the wind will continue throughout until tomorrow. That has been your news update to 3 p.m. Gina Tang, BCIT The Crow. Okay. Plants are affected by the changing weather after the spring. Our reporter Vivek Nakra has more on how the plants are damaged during winters.
Weather conditions play an important role in the growth of a plant. During winters, plants are more likely to be damaged or killed due to weather conditions. All the online experts agree that the first frost can make a brutal impact on the plants or garden as it can damage or kill the plants. Cold weather freezes the cells in the plant that damages it from the inside, also making it difficult for the nutrients and water to flow in the plant. Vivek Nakra, BCIT's The Crow.
That has been your news update to 3 p.m. You're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Teresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good afternoon. I'm Grace Miller with your sports update to 3:15.
For me, I think from the outset, it's bringing awareness to the club, helping grow the club. Whatever they need from me, I'll be there to help support.
To kick off the sports stories today, we have a story straight out of Burnaby. Soccer icon Christine St. Clair has been named co-owner of the National Super League's Vancouver Rise.
The time is now for women's sports, and the investment is there. The exposure is growing. The sponsorships are growing. So this makes perfect sense.
She'll join in the majority owner, Greg Kerfoot, ahead of the National Super League's first season in April. This is following Sinclair's announcement last month to retire from playing professional soccer later this year. Sinclair said in a media release that she wants every little girl in British Columbia and Canada to be inspired to play or coach or manage, see the opportunity for women in sports. She's so excited to be a part of the movement and to be able to share her passion to help the club grow. And to lead things off on the mound, 2 postseason MLB games are on today. The Detroit Tigers are now playing the bottom of the 7th against Cleveland Guardians. The score is still unfortunately 0-0, but we'll get some action going soon. The teams face off in Game 2 with Progressive Field in Cleveland. The Guardians were in the lead ahead of the match, and their third game is scheduled for Wednesday. Continuing the post-game matches later today at Rodon Field with the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees. Game 2 at 4:30. In NHL news, 21-year-old Atu Ratu has made the opening day roster. The Canucks acquired him off of the New York Islanders at Bovart trade. Ratu previously had a short stint on the team 2 seasons ago before being sent down to the AHL. Player Thatcher Demko and Dakota Joshua are officially out for 3 to 4 weeks due to injury. Demko was a finalist for the Vezina Trophy for his performance last year. Thatcher Demko is healing from a knee muscle injury suffered during the first game of the playoffs last year. Joshua is recovering from testicular cancer. Previously injured players are also including Connor Garland, who has slowly been returning to the ice, so hopefully we'll see him show up this season. Canucks roster updates have also been released, with the following players being assigned to Abbotsford: Arshdeep Bains, Eric Banstorm, and Yari Patra. Over to Alberta, unfortunately, there's another injured player. The Calgary Flames' Igor Sharangovich has been placed on injured reserve. He is expected to be out on a week-to-week basis. More in hockey, the Philadelphia Flyers have announced their roster with a few interesting picks. The first-round pick, an 18-year-old Jet Luchenko for left first wing, and Matvei Michkov ahead of the schedule after the Philadelphia Flyers got him out of Russia and to North America. This is a little over a year after taking him in the 7th pick in the draft. Michkovic is leading the edge of an infusion of Russian talent entering the league despite concerns about the war in Ukraine reducing scouting possibilities. Russia and close ally Belarus are banned from the International Hockey Federation's under 18 and over 20 tournaments, but that has not stopped the teams from drafting players to the KHL and other Russian leagues. Now over to football. The Saints kick off against the Chiefs today at 5 in Arrowhead Stadium. Their last game against them was August 13th, with the Saints winning 26-24. That has been your 3:15 sports update. You're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
The Vancouver Canucks extended Niels Hoglander to a 3-year, $9 million contract on Sunday.
This extension leads me to believe Hoglander is primed for a big season of 30 goals in a larger role this season. When Rick Tocchet took over as head coach midway through the 2022-23 season, Hoglander accepted a demotion to the AHL and worked on improving the defensive side of his game. Hoglander gained the trust of Coach Tocchet last season, scoring 24 even-strength goals in 80 games played, averaging only 12 minutes and 6 seconds of ice time per game. Hoglander had more even-strength goals than star players such as Elias Pettersson and former Canuck captain Bo Horvat last year. I believe Hoglander is ready to reward the Canucks for their patience and support with a big season. Playing in the top 9 forward group and secondary power play unit will give Hoglander more opportunities to light the lamp and progress as a player. This contract rewards the young forward's steady progression as a player since his debut in the COVID-shortened 2020-21 season. It also serves as a symbol of faith the Canucks have in Hoglander to be an impact player for their team. My name is Zach Arabko, and this is today's Sports Comment.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the lower mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.